If you're over 70 and feel overwhelmed every time you walk into certain rooms of your home, you're not alone. That pile of mail on the kitchen counter, those boxes you've been meaning to sort through, and the closets you can barely open, they're not just clutter. They're silent stress creators that are robbing you of peace in your golden years. What if I told you that 7 simple habits are behind 90% of senior home clutter? And more importantly, what if you could fix them starting today? Stay tuned, because habit number 7 will shock you. It's something most people think is actually helping them stay organized. I'm about to show you exactly how to reclaim your space and your sanity. Welcome back to the Senior Reset, where we tackle the real challenges of life after 70 with practical solutions that actually work. I'm here today because I've received hundreds of messages from viewers just like you, feeling frustrated and embarrassed about the state of their homes. Here's the truth. Clutter isn't about being lazy or careless. It's about outdated habits that worked when we were younger but are now working against us. Today, I'm breaking down the 7 most common habits that turn organized homes into overwhelming spaces. But here's what makes this different. I'm not just pointing out problems. For each habit, I'll give you a simple, senior-friendly fix that you can implement immediately. No expensive organizers, no major renovations, just practical changes that respect your energy levels and physical limitations. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that like button if you've ever felt frustrated by clutter in your home. Your engagement helps us reach more seniors who need this information. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because next week I'm sharing the 5-minute daily routine that keeps clutter from coming back. Now, let's get your home working for you again, not against you. Let's start with the biggest clutter creator for seniors, the just-in-case mindset. Picture 82-year-old William with 3 broken radios in his garage because the parts might be useful someday. Sound familiar? This habit stems from growing up in times of scarcity, but it's now creating dangerous obstacles in your home. Here's why this is particularly problematic. After 70, your mobility may be limited, making it harder to navigate around stored items. Plus, emergency responders need clear pathways. Clutter can literally be life-threatening. I've seen seniors trip over someday items, leading to serious falls. But here's the thing. I'm not asking you to throw away everything. Instead, use the 2-year test. If you haven't used something in 2 years and it's not a genuine emergency supply or sentimental item, it's time to let it go. Create 3 boxes: keep, donate, and unsure. For the unsure box, set a calendar reminder for 6 months. If you haven't thought about those items once in 6 months, donate them sight unseen. The emotional shift here is powerful. Instead of focusing on, what if I need this, start asking, what if I could move freely through my home again? One viewer, James, cleared out 15 boxes using this method and told me he felt like he got his house back. He could finally use his workshop again instead of just walking around piles of someday projects. Your action step: choose one small area today, maybe a junk drawer or a corner of the garage. Apply the 2-year test. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel after clearing just one space. The secret is starting small and building momentum. Here's something that might surprise you. Most seniors who complete this exercise discover they had completely forgotten about 80% of their just-in-case items. That old saying about out of sight, out of mind is absolutely true when it comes to stored possessions. Have you been holding on to something just in case for years? Share in the comments what it is. You might inspire someone else to finally let go too. Now let's talk about something that hits close to home for most seniors: paper clutter. Mail stacks on the counter, important documents mixed with junk. And let's be honest, sometimes you're not even sure what's in those piles anymore. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about missing important medical appointments, tax documents, or even checks that expire. Here's what makes this particularly challenging for our generation. We grew up keeping physical copies of everything because digital wasn't an option. But now we're drowning in paper while still receiving digital copies too. The solution isn't to go completely digital overnight. That's unrealistic and stressful. Instead, try the touch it once rule with a senior twist. When mail arrives, you have 3 immediate options: trash it, file it, or act on it within 48 hours. Create just 4 folders: medical, financial, home, and action needed. That's it. No complex filing systems that require perfect memory. For bills, set up a simple monthly routine. Pick the same day each month, maybe the 1st or 15th, and handle all bills then. Use a large desk calendar to write due dates in big, clear letters. This way you're not shuffling through papers multiple times. Here's a game changer. Get a small basket for each room where papers tend to accumulate. At the end of each day, gather papers from these baskets and sort them using your 4-folder system. It takes less than 5 minutes, but prevents those overwhelming avalanches. One viewer, Rose, implemented this system and found 3 uncashed checks, totaling over $400 that she'd forgotten about in her paper piles. She said it felt like finding buried treasure in her own home. Another community member discovered a medical appointment reminder that had been buried for weeks. She almost missed a crucial follow-up. The key is consistency, not perfection. You don't need to organize 30 years of papers in one weekend. Start with today's mail and build the habit moving forward. Think of it as preventing future avalanches rather than clearing existing mountains. Here's a bonus tip. If you're overwhelmed by existing paper piles, try the Fresh Start method. Box up all your current papers and label the box with today's date. Start fresh with your new system. If you need something from the old box, you'll know where to find it, but you won't be paralyzed by decades of accumulated paper. What's your biggest paper clutter challenge? Let me know in the comments. Mail, medical documents, or something else entirely? This one tugs at the heartstrings, and I want to approach it with the respect it deserves. You have boxes of your children's artwork from 40 years ago, your late spouse's clothing, holiday decorations you haven't used in decades, but they all carry memories. The problem isn't having sentimental items, it's when sentiment becomes a prison that prevents you from enjoying your current life. I get it. These items represent love, history, and connections to people who matter to you. But here's what I've learned from thousands of seniors. Keeping everything dilutes the meaning of the truly special pieces. When everything is precious, nothing feels special anymore. Try the memory box method. For each category of sentimental items, choose one small box or container. This forces you to select only the most meaningful pieces. Take photos of items you're letting go. The memory lives on, but your space becomes functional again. For clothing, create a memorial quilt or pillow from your loved one's most meaningful garments instead of keeping entire wardrobes. For children's artwork, choose one piece from each year and create a special album or frame rotation system. Here's the emotional breakthrough. Your memories aren't stored in objects, they're stored in your heart and mind. The goal isn't to forget or dishonor your past, but to create space for your present life to flourish. You deserve to live in a home that serves your current needs, not just your historical ones. One of our community members, Helen, shared that after creating memory boxes for each of her 4 children, she could finally use her spare bedroom for guests again. She said, "I realized I was living in a museum of my past instead of enjoying my present." Those memory boxes became treasured gifts she eventually gave to each child. They were thrilled to receive their curated childhood memories. Here's something beautiful that often happens. When you carefully curate sentimental items instead of keeping everything, the remaining pieces become more meaningful, not less. You'll find yourself actually looking through your memory box and enjoying those special items instead of feeling guilty about boxes you never open. Start small, maybe choose one box of sentimental items and practice the memory box method. You'll likely find that having fewer, more carefully chosen items makes each one more meaningful, not less. Consider this. Would you rather have 50 items you never see or 10 items you treasure and enjoy regularly? For those struggling with guilt about letting go, remember this. You're not throwing away memories. You're choosing to honor the most meaningful ones while creating space for new memories to be made in your home. Which sentimental items are the hardest for you to part with? Share your story in the comments. This community understands and supports each other through these emotional decisions. And please like this video if you're ready to honor your memories while reclaiming your living space. Let's address something that many seniors struggle with but rarely talk about: buying multiples of everything just to have them. 20 bottles of shampoo because it was on sale, enough toilet paper to supply a small hotel, or a pantry so packed you can't find anything. This habit made sense during the Depression or wartime rationing, but it's now creating chaos in your home. The psychological trigger here is fear of scarcity, which our generation knows intimately. But here's the reality check. Overbuying often leads to waste, not security. Items expire, you forget what you have, and you end up buying duplicates of items buried in your stockpile. The fix starts with a realistic inventory system. Before any shopping trip, check what you already have. Keep a simple list on your refrigerator of staples and their quantities. When something gets low, add it to your shopping list. This prevents impulse buying and reduces the better safe than sorry mentality. Implement the one-in, one-out rule for non-consumables. Buy a new sweater, donate one you rarely wear. This keeps your possessions at a manageable level and ensures everything you own has a purpose and place. For consumables, use the 3-month rule. Only buy what you'll realistically use in 3 months. Yes, that 12-pack of soap might be a great deal, but if it takes 2 years to use, it's not saving you money. It's costing you storage space and peace of mind. Create designated spaces for stockpiled items with clear limits. Use a specific shelf for extra toiletries, a particular cabinet for cleaning supplies. When that space is full, you have enough. This visual boundary prevents endless accumulation. One viewer, Carl, implemented this system and discovered he had £300 worth of unused items in his basement, enough cleaning supplies to last 3 years. He donated half and used the money he would have spent on more supplies for a weekend getaway with his grandchildren instead. Here's what many seniors discover. When you stop stockpiling and start buying intentionally, you actually save money. You're not buying duplicates of forgotten items, you're not letting things expire, and you're not paying for storage solutions to house your excess. The goal isn't to live with empty cupboards, but to live with intentional abundance, having what you need without drowning in excess. Think of it as moving from scarcity-based buying to confidence-based buying. Here's a practical exercise. Choose one category of items you tend to stockpile. Maybe bathroom supplies or canned goods. Count everything you currently have and calculate how long it would realistically last. Most seniors are shocked to discover they have 6 to 12 months worth of supplies they thought they were running low on. Do you have a particular item you tend to overbuy? What's your biggest stockpile challenge? Let's help each other break this cycle in the comments below. Here's a habit that sneaks up on everyone, but especially impacts seniors: treating every flat surface as a temporary storage space. The dining room table becomes a mail sorting centre. The kitchen counter turns into a catch-all for keys and glasses. And don't even get me started on that chair in the bedroom that hasn't seen a person sit in it for months. This happens because flat surfaces are convenient, but they quickly become overwhelming. What starts as "I'll just put this here for now" becomes permanent chaos. For seniors, this creates particular challenges. You might need that table for medical equipment, meal preparation, or simply a clear space to sort medications safely. The solution is the flat surface reset rule. Every flat surface gets cleared completely once per day. I know this sounds excessive, but hear me out. Choose a different surface each day of the week. Monday is the kitchen counter, Tuesday is the dining table, Wednesday is the nightstand, and so on. But here's the key: don't just move the items to another flat surface. Each item must go to its proper home or be dealt with immediately. No exceptions, no "I'll handle it tomorrow" pile relocations. Create designated landing zones for daily essentials. A small basket by the door for keys and glasses, a specific spot for mail that gets processed daily, a charging station for phones and hearing aids. These aren't clutter zones, they're intentional, limited spaces for necessary items. The psychological benefit is huge. Clear surfaces make your home feel instantly more organized and peaceful. You can actually use your furniture for its intended purpose again. Imagine eating a meal at your dining table instead of moving piles to make room for your plate. One of our community members, Joyce, told me that implementing the flat surface reset rule was like getting her home back. She said, "I didn't realize how much mental energy those piles were consuming until they were gone. Now I actually enjoy being in my kitchen again." Here's something interesting. Once you start clearing surfaces daily, you'll notice how quickly they want to fill up again. This awareness is actually helpful. It shows you which items don't have proper homes and need designated storage spaces. Start with just one surface, maybe your nightstand or a small side table. Clear it completely and commit to keeping it clear for 1 week. You'll be amazed at how this small change impacts your entire mindset about organization. The secret is that clear surfaces create a domino effect. When one area looks good, you naturally want other areas to match. Before you know it, you're maintaining multiple clear surfaces without it feeling like work. Which flat surface in your home drives you the craziest? Share it in the comments. I bet you'll find you're not alone, and others might share their solutions too. If this tip helps you see your surfaces differently, now we're getting to something that really hits home. The pile of broken items you keep meaning to fix someday. The lamp with the wobbly base, the clock that stopped working 2 years ago, the kitchen gadget that needs a simple repair. These items aren't just taking up space, they're creating a constant mental burden of unfinished tasks. This habit is particularly challenging for seniors because many of you are incredibly resourceful. You grew up fixing things instead of throwing them away. But here's the reality. If you haven't fixed it in 6 months, you probably never will. And that's okay. Your time and energy are more valuable than holding on to broken promises to yourself. Implement the fix it or forget it rule. Give yourself a realistic deadline for each broken item. Usually 30 days is plenty. Write the deadline on a sticky note attached to the item. When that date arrives, you have 2 choices. Fix it that day or let it go. No extensions, no negotiating with yourself. For items you decide to fix, schedule specific times on your calendar just like any other appointment. For example, Tuesday, 2 p.m. repair lamp. This prevents the repair from floating around as a vague someday task that creates ongoing stress. Consider your current physical limitations honestly. That heavy piece of furniture you used to be able to repair might now require hiring help. Factor the cost of professional repair into your decision. Sometimes replacing is more practical than fixing, and that's a wise choice, not a failure. Create a repair station, a designated area where broken items wait for their deadline. This prevents them from spreading throughout your house and makes it easier to see what needs attention. When items have a specific place to be broken, they stop contaminating your living spaces with their dysfunction. Here's a success story that might inspire you. George had been walking around a broken drawer in his kitchen for 8 months. Every time he opened it, he felt frustrated and promised himself he'd fix it this weekend. Using the fix it or forget it rule, he set a 30-day deadline. On day 29, he realized the drawer was creating daily stress for a repair that would cost £15 in hardware. He fixed it that afternoon and told me he felt like he'd lifted a weight off his shoulders. The goal isn't to become heartless about possessions, but to be realistic about your capacity and priorities. Your peace of mind is worth more than holding on to broken items that make you feel guilty every time you see them. Here's something many seniors don't realize. Broken items in your living space send a subconscious message that your home isn't cared for. When you eliminate broken items, your entire home feels more loved and functional, even if nothing else changes. Consider this perspective shift. Letting go of broken items isn't giving up or being wasteful. It's honoring your current reality and choosing function over fantasy. You're not the same person you were 20 years ago, and that's perfectly fine. What's the one broken item in your home that you keep meaning to fix? Share it in the comments. Sometimes just naming it publicly gives you the motivation to finally address it. Here's the habit that might surprise you. Digital overwhelm spilling into physical clutter. You print every email just to be safe, keep instruction manuals for devices you mastered years ago, and maintain both physical and digital versions of everything. This creates double the clutter and double the confusion about where information actually lives. This happens because many seniors don't fully trust digital systems, which is completely understandable. You didn't grow up with computers, so keeping paper backups feels safer. But this dual system often creates more problems than it solves. You end up searching both places for information and keeping unnecessary paper that duplicates what's safely stored electronically. Start with a digital confidence-building approach. Choose one type of document, maybe bank statements, and try keeping only digital versions for 3 months. Most banks keep statements available online for years, making paper copies redundant. If you survive those 3 months without needing the paper versions, you can confidently eliminate paper bank statements going forward. For instruction manuals, here's a reality check. If you haven't referenced a manual in over a year, you either don't need that function or you've mastered the device. Most manuals are available online if you truly need them later. Keep manuals only for items you're still learning to use. Create a simple, digital bridge system. Keep a small notebook with important website passwords and login information written clearly in your handwriting. This gives you the security of physical backup for digital access, without keeping every piece of digital information in paper form too. For emails, resist printing everything. Instead, learn to create simple folders in your email program. Most email systems have very similar folder structures. Start with just 3 folders: important, medical, and financial. This reduces paper printing while giving you digital organization. Here's what one of our viewers, Stanley, discovered after eliminating his dual paper-digital system for utilities and medical records. He freed up an entire filing cabinet. More importantly, he stopped the frustrating experience of searching through both systems whenever he needed information. Everything had one clear location. The breakthrough moment comes when you realize that keeping both versions isn't making you safer. It's making you more confused and taking up precious space in your home. Choose your preferred system for each type of information and stick with it. This is probably the most modern challenge our generation faces with organization. You don't need to become tech experts, but you can stop letting digital anxiety create physical clutter. Start small, build confidence, and gradually reduce the dual systems that are cluttering both your computer and your home. Here's a helpful perspective. Companies wouldn't offer digital-only options if they weren't reliable. Your bank, utility company, and insurance provider trust their digital systems completely, and they have much more to lose than you do if something goes wrong. Are you keeping both paper and digital versions of certain documents? Which ones feel the scariest to give up? Let's help each other navigate this digital-physical balance in the comments. Imagine walking into your home tomorrow morning and feeling peace instead of overwhelm. Picture actually using your dining room table for meals with family instead of moving piles to make space. Envision opening any closet or drawer and easily finding exactly what you need within seconds. This isn't just about organization, it's about reclaiming your independence and dignity in your own home. When everything has a place and systems run smoothly, you spend less energy managing stuff and more energy enjoying life. You can invite people over without embarrassment, navigate your home safely, and focus on what truly matters at this stage of life. The 7 habits we discussed today are holding millions of seniors hostage in their own homes. But here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to tackle everything at once. Choose one habit that resonated most strongly with you today and commit to changing just that one thing this week. Sarah from our community implemented just 3 of these strategies and told me she felt like she'd moved into a new house, except it was the same house she'd lived in for 30 years. The change wasn't in her address, it was in her relationship with her possessions. Your home should support your golden years, not complicate them. These aren't just organizing tips. They're life reclamation strategies designed specifically for the unique challenges and wisdom that come with being over 70. You have the power to create a home environment that honors both your past and supports your present. If this video helped you identify which habit is cluttering your home, smash that like button right now and share it with a friend who might be struggling too. Your likes and shares help us reach more seniors who desperately need these practical solutions. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because next week I'm revealing the 5-minute daily routine that prevents clutter from ever building up again. It's a game changer that works with your energy levels, not against them. In the comments below, tell me which of these 7 habits hit closest to home for you. I read every comment and often feature your questions in future videos. Remember, you're not alone in this challenge, and it's never too late to create a home that brings you joy instead of stress. Hit subscribe if you want more life-changing content for your senior reset journey.